explain to them in your words, what is the American jungle?
The American Jungle. It was a project of passion. It was pretty much a brainchild by Jeremy Ballard, my partner at the time, and we, we just saw a part of history that was kind of going uncaptured. Basically, we saw a culture. We saw, infractions of drum and bass turning into other genres, like the artists that were actually, participating in jungle, like going to different genres like dubstep and things like that. And we were like, there's a story in here. Maybe we don't know exactly what that story is, but we're gonna get in there and figure it out, and push ourselves as DJs, get around and meet a bunch of people, and it's something that drum and bass and promoting drum and bass has been like a big part of my life since like the early 2000s. So it's just something that I felt that needed to be done, especially when I got on board and everything with it. It really went from like, kind of like some like teasers, or kind of like, what's the best way to put it? Kind of just like hype more to like a reality. And we got out there and did the filming and talked to everybody and everything. And the story developed out of that in a lot of ways. But we didn't want to miss out on the history and the things that really brought jungle to be for people that aren't junglists or drum and bass heads, initially. So. Also, let America know the contributions that America gave to the drum and bass and to the scene, and who else is out there promoting and doing their thing too. So.
Here's a pretty. First of all, thanks Miza916 for the sub. Appreciate that. Big up Tofu. Thanks for chiming in. So here's like a yearbook journalism question. Basic question. We'll start with that. Like, how many cities did you visit in the making of this documentary?
Yeah, we visited 23. Actually, it's more like 25 cities altogether. Ooh. But that's like including some cities in Colorado too. So a couple of them. But yeah.
Well, you're gonna be regional. That's where you're at, right?
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Did
you go into Canada or anything like that too?
No, didn't get into Canada. We did talk to John Rolodex and Freaky Flow and Mystical Influence, people that were. Big.
Canada has an interesting story with jungle too.
Yeah.
You've broken it down into 3 parts. Is this something that came later on in the production, or is this something that was preconceived from the beginning?
This is something that came on later. Yeah, not to mention, actually, take it back to the Canada thing, I actually brought out Freaky Flow and had him perform here in Denver in order to get that interview and stuff like that. Mystical Influence ended up moving here, so hey, that works out.
Right.
But yeah.
The 3-part delivery was not the original intention.
No, it wasn't the original intention. The original intention was to actually get this distributed in a proper form, Netflix, HBO, wherever it found its place. And as the post-production carried on, as things developed, it just, a lot of life happened. Like you were saying, there was a lot of life that happened, and it kind of got to a point where I was just like, okay, are we just gonna sit on this film forever? We did the screenings in 5 cities, and I
wanted to be one of them, couldn't afford you guys.
Yeah, it was interesting, and there wasn't really like money made out of that either.
I wasn't putting it that way. No, I was saying it in just logistically speaking, I couldn't afford to throw the party.
Yeah, fair enough.
And talent is part of that, but it wasn't all of it.
I understand all too well.
Yeah.
The 3 parts kind of came about whenever I realized that, the only place that this is really gonna find a home easily, because after time, it was like I need to get this out to my peers and the people that helped us get around, and to, just generally everybody that we were saying we're going to put this out to, it needed to be something, and it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, and it would just be a shame for it not to come out at all, so.
Well, the production looks great, and if anybody who's ever trying to take on a feat of this magnitude, they will definitely sing all the praises that are due, because that's not an easy task to take on with a small crew. It's been a long time, and the way that I perceived it from an outside perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you straight up, when we threw that party, I was answering the question for you. So what's going on with this movie?
Yeah.
When's this movie going to come out? Whatever happened to that movie? It turned into that, right?
Yeah.
And I went to bat for you guys because I knew that in post-production, like, it gets personal and it gets crazy. It's like a band trying to put out an album, and it's you know, you've got like different visions, you've got different directions, maybe like multiple people wanted to tell different stories and things like that, and maybe there's an issue with the length, you know what I mean? Like, you can't condense it down to a feature length, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, we ran into all that, you know.
All that.
Guaranteed. You know, it seemed too lengthy at one time. It seemed too short, you know, at others. Yeah, the 3-part thing, honestly, like, really boiled down to, you know, if we're not able to monetize this properly due to, you know, different situations, not having, you know, funds to like finish it properly, really is what it boils down to. Then I wanted to at least try to get, you know, an audience on YouTube where, you know, we can get some subscribers and, you know, kind of catapult it off of the 3 different parts, you know, let the word get out there. And if we get enough subscribers on this YouTube channel, then we can.
Hey, everybody subscribe, by the way. I'll post the link again
Definitely
if you guys
appreciate
missed
that.
it. Yeah, of course.
And then yeah, you know, we can get into future things and more content, you know, like whether it be like with the situation it is now, doing online interviews and, you know, mixes and stuff like that. But, you know, when everything opens back up, get back out there, film some parties, film some, you know, people getting wild and what the scene's really doing at the time, you know, and putting it out quickly.
So, as somebody who experienced the traveling around the United States and a lot of domestic drum and bass culture, you're probably more seasoned than a vast percentage of us, right? Did you take away from it something different than when you were going into it? Were you impressed by us more than you expected? Was it like a disappointment? Like, what? Where do you stand after traveling to 20 some odd cities and experiencing American jungle firsthand?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was amazing, really, in a lot of ways. You know, we had our difficulties along the path and everything, but whenever we got to each city and we saw these people and how passionate they were, just like us, you know, with pushing their scene and getting this music out there and everything. I mean, it was really interesting. Like, I felt at home in every city, like, really. I mean, and I think it's that culture and like the people that are involved with it, they just are so easily to, you know, to relate to, like, and I mean, honestly, there was people in each city where I'd be like, man, that reminds me of Homeboy in Denver, and like, you know, he acts like him and we can talk like that. Like, it was crazy. It was
right.
Really interesting.
Similar personalities. You're like, oh yeah, it's totally just like, oh yeah, totally, I get that.
Just jumping right in and like already feeling part of the crowd anyways.
So I'm gonna throw it out to the chat. Does anybody have any questions? Is the styles different? Like a dialect? Did you see them playing different styles when you changed to different states? Jubei wants to know.
Yeah, Jubei, I didn't notice a ton of that, but there was that, you know. I feel like in California things got a lot more, you know, like jungle-y, some more jump up style, more, you know, colorful music, you know, the colorful side of drum and bass. And in the Midwest I saw a lot more kind of like darker feel stuff, some Nero-y, some tech step, you know, that kind of vibe seemed to stick out more. Yeah, that, you know, generally everybody changed it up a lot, had a lot of fun at all the parties. It was all the genres, you know, sub-genres, right. I guess, were being represented for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's up, Lizard King Risen from Toronto chiming in, back in business. 8 years? 7 years? 7 years this project took?
Yeah.
How long?
We got
let's put it out there.
You're right on that. Like, we got out there and started filming in like 13 or something like that, and throughout 14, and then we tried to get it totally finished up by 15 was the ultimate goal, but it was actually finished in 17. And then, well,
It's all about distribution at that point.
It was 16 or 17. Yeah, and there was a lot of things that they needed for distribution that I wasn't too aware of. It being a first-time filmmaker, you know, I did rely a lot on my partner who had more insight to that industry, and you know, it didn't ever really pan out the way it was supposed to initially with that. So you know, we screened it. We did screening events, and it was really cool. Like Minneapolis, you know, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, Denver, and New York, and they have the DJs that were actually, you know, talking in the film, playing afterwards. Like Dara, saw him at a couple of them. Gigantor, Evil Intent was at a couple of them, and yeah, it was interesting, you know, to have those artists in the film be playing in front of the people right afterwards. It was a great vibe.
Right?
Yeah.
Sick. Sacramento has had our share of headliners, but I'm mostly proud of the camaraderie.
Yeah, I had a great time there. 916 represented. I mean, a blast at that show that you threw, man. In the background, your background is from that. It was great.
I keep seeing it flash throughout the documentary, and I walk a little taller every time I see it. It was an awesome night, and you guys represented well. Like, it's awesome. I appreciate everything, man.
Yeah, it was good vibes, man. I enjoyed playing out there. I enjoyed the MCs. I enjoyed vibes were thick, the whole nine. So.
Yeah, we party. Speaking of party, we have a shots up. Hey, shots up, chat. Shots up, chat.
I wish I would have got one.
Our meeting was brief. We went a couple days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really got along with you guys.
Yeah.
And I don't always get along with the people that we fly into town. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're just kind of chodes, and that's what it is. Before we end this, is there anything that you would like to say in closure? To all the people out there, maybe some stuff to follow, some shout outs, etc.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'd love it if everybody subscribed to the YouTube channel. If I can build that channel up and get it to where everything gets can get monetized, and I can go around and do this some more with current, you know, topics. That is the goal. So I really appreciate any support on that, and sharing the links and all that stuff. That be super awesome, and you know, I really hope that everybody really truly enjoys it too. You know,
I'm looking forward to the record store part, because I was a record store clerk.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that section a lot, because that was a big part of my background.
Yeah.
I was the guy that fucking scoffed at you when you bought some whack shit and made you never want to come back to the store.
Hey, you know, there's always got to be some connection to that record store back in the day, and we kind of talked through that in the documentary. You know, the transition that happened from analog to digital, and yeah, you know, like more than half of the records I have right now are all white labels, because of Guy, who was the record orderer for Twist and Shout, was part of the Turbo Alliance, was the crew that I was in. And
hey, Evan, did you distribute to Twist and Shout?
Twist and Shout wasn't one of my accounts.
Wasn't one of your accounts? Okay.
But we did TRC. I used to work at TRC, if you've ever heard of TRC. And Twist and Shout was someone else's account while I worked.
Oh, it was somebody else. Somebody else was the rep.
Yeah, they had it. They had the account. I know for sure. We sent boxes to them all the time. But
there we go. Hey, shouts to DJ Guy. I know he moved up to Alaska, but Guy was the one that was doing all those ordering back then.
Hey, Guy, if you see this somewhere on YouTube, or you somehow see this Twitch stream, you're awesome.
That's right.